Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Some big updates on Rafael Varane this morning. Also in relation to Jadon Sancho and a medical apparently taking place today. So when will that officially be announced? Also an interesting interview with Dean Henderson talking about his struggles at Manchester United and how hard it is effectively when you listen to him about being Manchester United's number one. It's obviously expected to be United's number one next season and a few other things as well. But let's start off with Rafael Varane. There are two big updates in relation to Varane, both of them looking very positive. Remember, 10 days ago, I said I'm 75% sure that Varane will come to United. Last week, I spoke about 90% club. I think we're getting very close to a Varane deal being a Manchester United player, because I think the big thing is not about when it will happen. I don't think it's necessarily going to happen soon. But basically, what's been said by Samuel Lucas in the Manchester Evening News is that people close to the deal would be stunned if this didn't happen. Now, this verifies what we spoke about on Friday night at Malakians on Twitter. Phil Brown basically said the same thing. That people close to this deal would be absolutely stunned if it didn't happen. So we've heard that twice now in the last 3 or 4 days, that there's people who are working on this deal that would be stunned if he doesn't end up being a Manchester United player. So that is a positive, definitely. I think there's a lack of clarity about where we are with this deal. There's still talk from some English outlets that we're trying to work on personal terms. As we know from Fabrizio Romano, who has said this numerous times now, personal terms are not a problem. But I think the more interesting update is the one that we've had this morning from Spain. This is from Mundo Deportivo, and they've given, this is going to sound very familiar to you, but this is what's coming out this morning. Real Madrid's objective is to know firsthand the intentions of Rafael Varane, and they want to place him in the market if he decides against signing a new contract. Madrid are aware that Manchester United are most interested in signing him. The club can fulfill his expectations salary-wise, and he has always been attracted to the idea of playing in the Premier League. Also, they realise that a fee of around 50 million euros is probably going to be what happens, but why is my mouse not moving around properly there? But Manchester United are looking for 45 million euro deal. Varane until now has been very silent and hasn't responded to Real Madrid's new renewal offer. They're hoping to get a response when he returns to pre-season training next week, and their objective is to know firsthand the intentions of Rafael Varane, and they want to place him in the market if he decides against signing. So effectively that's coming in from Spain, and that verifies what we've been saying. And I said this a few weeks ago, didn't I? I said I'm not focusing on what English outlets are saying about this, because, well, to be honest with you, if you think you get a lot of news around Manchester United, the news you get around Barcelona and Real Madrid has and always will be obsessive by the Spanish outlets. So if you are in for a Barcelona player, or they're in for a player that you want, or Real Madrid's got a player that we're looking at, the best place to go is to the Spanish outlets. And they've always put this story out there that the issue is Varane doesn't want the deal that Real Madrid have offered, and that Manchester United are offering a better deal, and that the Real Madrid will sell Varane, but Varane has got to tell them he's going. And that's where we're at with this. Personal terms is just a smokescreen. It's nothing to do with personal terms. As Romano said, and has said numerous times, and as I've heard numerous times, and as I'm sure many of you have heard numerous times, personal terms are not the issue here. The issue is that we are offering more money to Varane than Real Madrid are. So how can personal terms be the issue when everybody knows that we're offering more money to Varane than Real Madrid? That money is personal terms. So how can we be organising personal terms when we're already offering him more money than Real Madrid? And that's why he's looking to come to United. Real Madrid didn't want to give Ramos the money, and he left. And they don't want to give Varane the money, and he is probably going to leave. So the thing where we are with this deal is where we've been talking about for a couple of days now. We're waiting for Varane to come back from holiday and tell Real Madrid that he's leaving so that United can complete the deal. Now, I read something today, it may well have been in the Manchester Evening News, that Varane's going to be on holiday for most of July. He's not going to be on holiday for most of July. He's back next week, which is the middle of July. So I think that this deal is going to get moved through very, very quickly towards the back end of July. But there is a good point in the Manchester Evening News, in fact, that says I don't think Rafael Varane's in any rush to get back pre-season training with Manchester United so he can train with Galbraith and Show Retire and people like that. And with all due respect to those players, Manchester United's pre-season is a bit of a weird one. We had one like this when we played in America, I think 2 or 3 years ago. It was after the Euros, wasn't it? In 2018, I think we went to America, where most of our team wasn't there because of the Euros and they're having a break. And we're going to see that now. We're going to see this on Sunday with Derby, which I think is exciting, but we're not going to see many first teamers. So Varane rushing a deal through really isn't in his interests, and it's not really in Manchester United's interests. The point is to have Varane and Sancho in place for that game against Leeds in mid-August, and that's what United will do. So I can see this Varane deal when it happens, obviously if it happens, but I think when it happens, I can see this being the back end of July, because once the ball starts rolling, United are probably going to take a couple of weeks, aren't they, to negotiate with Real Madrid. So, yeah, we're in that ballpark. And I'll repeat what I said at the start. People close to this deal would be stunned if he didn't come to Manchester United. That's the second time we've heard that in 4 days. Personal terms are not a problem. Real Madrid are not offering the money that we are offering, and Real Madrid are waiting for Varane to tell them that he wants to leave so that they can start negotiating the fee with Manchester United, which will be around 50 million euros. So it's tick, tick, tick for me. The fee is right. The player is right, and the time is right, and let's get on with it. Basically, get him back. He's on holiday, but let's get on with it. Raptor says it's the same news. Well, Jamie, Raptor, if you don't want to listen to it, don't watch it. But it's not the same old news, is it? Because it's a news show, and there's news from an English outlet, and there's news from a Spanish outlet, and some people get confused. Like yesterday, when Sky Sports News come out with PSG are in for Varane and working on personal terms, neither of which are correct. So, you can say it's the same old news, but it's clarity, isn't it? And it's opinion. And I think it's very important, because some people actually do care and are interested. If you don't watch it. I can't keep explaining to you 7 years later that the morning show is a news show and we're dictated to by what's going on in the news and we're reacting to that. James Patrick, thank you very much for the super chat there. Percentage-wise in relation to its done, says Entando. You know what? I think we pretty much are into the 90% club with Varane. I think we are pretty much there. I mean, that is a little bit probably high, but I said it at the weekend, didn't I? I think 90% are right. 90% club are rise, because there are people very close to this deal. People that I've spoken to, people that I trust, who are saying that this deal's inevitable. Really, unless Real Madrid pull out a massive wage, which they didn't do for Ramos, who is a club legend, unless they pull out a massive wage and basically offer what Man United are offering, then why would Varane stay? And I think that's the only thing that is stopping it. But time-wise, for some reason I'm thinking like 26th of July or something like that, 27th, 28th. I think we're probably 2 weeks away from this, but hopefully quicker. Hopefully quicker with that. Talking about deals being done, though. I mean, 2 deals done, hopefully, very, very soon. Certainly before the Leeds game. But talking about deals being done, Jadon Sancho today, Simon Stone has come out and said that the medical will be done early this week. Early this week, to me, has always meant Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday's not early in the week. Wednesday's midweek. So early this week, this deal will be done. This medical will be done for Sancho, according to Simon Stone from the BBC. I think the Mail said last night that the medical happened today. My understanding is that the medical will be done today, because Jadon Sancho needs to go on holiday. 3 weeks is what Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho are going to get. 3 weeks off, so they won't be back before the start of August, which is about right. And I think that the medical will be today for Sancho, because what you need to do with Sancho is you need to get him a medical, and then you need to get him out on holiday. And the longer he's hanging around afterwards, the longer he's not getting a break that he needs. So I think medical done today, photographs done today, and we move on from there. People talking to me about the MUFC MPB tweet. I've literally just covered it. I don't know why you don't listen. That's slow sports news from them. I've covered that 5 minutes ago. So maybe listen to the show. Everything that's just been tweeted out there, we spoke about 5 minutes ago. So yeah, I think Sancho medical today, and then apparently the new kit comes out on Thursday. So medical today, maybe announce it tonight. Medical today, maybe announce it tomorrow. Medical today, maybe announce it on Thursday. But United today will do the medical with Sancho, they'll do the interviews with Sancho, they'll do the photography with Sancho, they'll do the announcement video with Sancho, of which I think it's going to be something quite big. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something with like Stormzy or something like that sort of vibe going on. And it will be done like I and many of you said before. This deal will be done with the intention of combining it with the launch of the new kit, which will sell loads. And you know what? That's what the Glazers do. I mean, I'm not even angry about it. This is what they do. They buy a marquee signing and they announce it with all the hype and glamour around the revealing of a new kit with a new sponsor, and that is how the Glazers say to brands, look at what we just did. Look at what we just did. 2 months ago, they were breaking into the ground. We had barriers up. Sponsors were terrified. 2 months later, look at what we did. This is what we do. We're businessmen. We can make a brand that's shitting itself gold. We can make it work. And look at what we've just did. One signing. And I tell you what the hilarious thing is. This was the signing we messed up last summer. We messed it up last summer. We got loads of trouble. We buy him this summer and everyone's buying the kit again. So this is how we do things at United. You can be getting all these bad emails about your brand. 2 months later, they've forgot. They're like goldfish, these fans. They ain't got a clue. And that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. It's what they're always going to do. Sancho, who is a fantastic signing I'm very excited about, announced around the time of the kit launch. So many of you said it in June. I said it. So many people said it, and that's what's going to happen. Sancho next to a new shirt, holding a new shirt up with TeamViewer on. Massive sales. Cha-ching. Money in the bank. Glazers win. And that's what's going to happen. But I think to be fair, we win as well, because Jadon Sancho is a fantastic player and I'm very excited about him coming to United, and I think Varane is an exciting signing. So, look, yeah, you know what? Playing devil's advocate a little bit here, we can be very cynical about the way the club's run, because it is cynically, businessly minded run, but that's a bigger picture that needs to be addressed by the fan base as a whole if it wants to. In relation to the football team under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, this team needs investment. Sancho is investment. Varane is investment. And I think the centre defensive midfielder needs to be made as well. So, yeah, I'm not buying any kits. I've said that before. My conscience is clear on that. I'm not buying any kits for these owners. But if you want to do that, that's up to you. That's totally and utterly up to you. They need to deliver more than this summer. They need to deliver next summer and next summer, because I don't think this Glazer out thing's over. I don't think United are suddenly going to start winning the trophies they should be winning. So I don't think the Glazer thing's over. I just think it's calm for the moment. But look, I agree with the Sancho signing and I agree with the Varane signing. I do, but I want to see a centre defensive midfielder coming into Manchester United, and we'll see what's happening with that, because a lot of people say what's happening with Camavinga. As I said, it's quite quiet on Camavinga at the moment. So I think that Camavinga is... Sayson says what's happening with Camavinga. I think with Camavinga, he's waiting to see what happens with PSG, who are waiting to see what happens with Paul Pogba. So I think Camavinga is going to be waiting around a long time. I mean, I spoke to somebody late last night who said to me, I asked them, I said, who do you think will be the next deal? I didn't speak to them, it was messages, to be honest with you. I'm not speaking to anybody after 10 o'clock on the phone. I've got Love Island to watch. Welcome to the Members Club Bookings, DJ Marley. Thank you very much. Pal, thanks for joining. We were exchanging messages and I said, who do you think will be the next signing for Manchester United? And they said, I wouldn't be surprised if it's an exit before a signing. So I don't know how we can do that. I mean, look, people are straight away going to say Lingard. I think we're going to hand Lingard a new contract. I mean, why would Lingard not have been sold by now? Why would you not have sold him by now if he's going? Like, why would you not sell him? Why would Lingard not want to be pre-season training with the club that he wants to play for? Because he wants to stay at United. And I think United will offer him a new deal. So I don't think it's going to be Lingard. I can't think who it would be that we're going to get rid of. I mean, some people will start talking about... De Gea. Very interesting comments from, just very quickly, I don't want to dwell on this too much, but as we know, we get it rammed down our throat on a daily basis by certain British outlets that Dean Henderson will be the number one for Manchester United next season. Well, he did an interview and basically said he would have been no good for England because he was injured. I think it was a hip injury, and when he was diving it was hurting. But he then gave quite an interesting insight, Dean Henderson, into the battle to be Manchester United number one last season. And basically what he said is that I put so much into being Manchester United number one last season. I worked my arse off. But that by the time I got there, And he obviously feels he was given the number 1 shirt. So, which I suppose he was. When David De Gea went on holiday, went to see the birth of his child, that was I disagree with this as well. Solskjaer used the birth of a person's child to drop De Gea and give Dean Henderson the goalkeeper. And if that's not weak, what's weak? Like, what? You can't do that. You don't drop a keeper. But look, Hariki, he's going away for a couple of weeks for the birth of his child. I'll just drop him then, but he won't know it's dropping. I'll just go, Dean's in number 1. But anyway, Henderson did technically get the number 1 shirt, I suppose, when David De Gea went away for the birth of his child. So Dean Henderson was talking about this, saying, look, I worked really hard to get the number 1 shirt at Manchester United, but then when I got there, I was so mentally tired, and then I got injured and I really struggled. So, it's sort of quite an interesting insight from Dean Henderson, really, that, how hard it was mentally for him last season. And then, when he got the number 1 shirts, he struggled effectively, had an injury. Well, we saw how he struggled. There was more than the Liverpool game, coming for crosses, all sorts. So it just shows you something that I think many people have been aware of over the last 6 months and longer, really, with this goalkeeping situation. And I appreciate the honesty of Dean Henderson there. And I think it's fantastic what he's saying, because it's an insight into the mental struggle that these players go through. And he was mentally tired by the time he got to be the number 1 in April. And obviously mistakes happened, maybe because of that. And it just goes to show that, next season, if Dean Henderson is sat there saying, look, I was mentally tired and I struggled at the end, that shows you the situation that has been created by a situation that many of us said never should have happened a year ago. Pitting 2 goalkeepers up against each other who can never relax becomes mentally straining for both goalkeepers. And fair play for Dean Henderson for admitting that, because we're about to go and do it again. Whether Dean Henderson starts the season in goal or David De Gea starts the season in goal, they know they've got a top-class goalkeeper sat on their bench, and that mental struggle for them is not good. If you've ever played football, or you've ever played in goal, or you know people who've played in goal, that is about confidence. That, the goalkeeping situation is a completely unique position. You need the full backing of the manager, and you need to know if you make a mistake, you're still the goalkeeper. And we didn't have that last year. And this is why we've got to remove one of those goalkeepers, because it's unfair on either of them. And yet, and Dean Henderson basically admitting that he was so exhausted when he got in the goal, and he got an injury as well, that he struggled. Well, do you want that to happen next season when we've got a 75,000 fans in the crowd and we're trying to go in a title challenge? This is Ollie's issue, and Ollie needs to resolve it. Would you rather get Camavinga or Varane, says Ross McKenzie? Well, I don't see them as exclusive to one or another. We should get both. I mean, I hate those sort of questions, Ross, not because I hate you, but because I think that sort of question lets the Glazers off. If you start entertaining that, you're diluting your desire. Because if you start thinking, what would I rather have, Varane or Camavinga, you're already letting the Glazers win, because you're talking about something we shouldn't talk about. It should be Varane and Camavinga. We shouldn't settle for one or the other. We need a centre-back and a CDM. Now, whether Camavinga's a CDM or not, I'm not getting into that debate, but we do need those 2 positions. We shouldn't have to speak one or the other. Somebody just said that there's another bit of information coming out that Sancho will be announced as a Manchester United player in the next 24 to 48 hours. Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. I mean, it's not even breaking news. It's obvious news. Medical today, photographs, la-di-da, and then we announce it as very much, in the next 24 to 48 hours. Because in the next 24 to 48 hours, Manchester United will be releasing their new kit. And I'm sure many of you will be ordering and buying it. So they need it with Sancho. Positivity, isn't it? There's a patter at Manchester United of players doing interviews to present excuses for their poor performances. No other club does it, says Andre. Mate, it's social media. Some people don't like social media. Some people do. So I think a lot of our players look for excuses. I'm not talking about Manchester United players. I mean, I think footballers in general, when they lose, they're sometimes more active than when they win. We're going to do better. We need to go again, this, that and the other. The only thing that I look at, and look, bring it back to England very, very quickly, because I'm bored to tears with talking about England. They lost. Get on with it. Like, you lost the game of football. Get on with it. It's really not that deep. The stuff that's gone on, the abuse is that deep and needs to be dealt with. But talking about England losing and why they lost and average positions and stats, no, I'm not interested in that. But what I did see this morning is the picture of the Italian parade bus surrounded by thousands of Italians with them players on the top with the trophy. That image means way more than we're really let down. We're really, we feel really bad. You lost. To play for England, to play for Manchester United, you'll have lost loads of games. You'll have been a competitive sports person from, being a young kid to get where you are. You're telling me you've never experienced losing. You lost. Soak it up and get on with it. I got no time for this bloody moaning on about this, that and the other now. Just get on with it. You're a professional sports person. Pick yourself up and get on with it. That's what you need to do. If you want to be a winner, respond like a winner. Take the defeat, learn from the defeat, and go again. That's what we need to do. That's what Manchester United need to do. I'm not talking about England. I'm talking about Manchester United here. We lost, it's sort of been lost in this summer, hasn't it? Because of the Euros and because of signing Sancho. We lost. Man United's last game was a very disappointing, some would say embarrassing, loss to Villarreal in the Europa League final. We're not... I want to say here, praise on looting and crimes. I don't know what you're talking about there. Why we have a problem with goalkeeper? Liverpool also have two world-class goalkeepers, Adrian and Alisson. They have managed perfectly. This is United voice because they have a clear and distinct number one. But I think that, look, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has come out and spoken about a couple of things which I want to talk about in a moment. But taking the racial abuse and everything as the abhorrent thing it is, and that needs to be dealt with. Let's talk about football, right? Football. Why does it serve Manchester United any purpose to be focusing and talking about England losing an international tournament? And my point is really here. If we focus on our English players' disappointment in the Euros for too long, we miss the point. If I'm Solskjaer, when Maguire... I'm on the phone to Maguire and Rashford and Shaw and Sancho, and I'm saying, look, lift your heads up. We've got a big season to come. We'll talk when you get back. But where United need to focus is England's disappointment is not our disappointment. Like, England's disappointment is not relevant to Manchester United because Manchester United's disappointment was only, 6-7 weeks ago against Villarreal. We need to now focus on our failings last year. They're the things we need to rectify. We've got our own disappointment. We don't need England's disappointment. We've got our own disappointment to pick ourselves up from. Because the danger is, if we focus too much on the England loss, which we shouldn't be focusing on at all as United fans, then, we're missing the point. Manchester United need to be able to defend set pieces. We've got a new coach in. Let's see what he does. We need to play at a higher tempo. We need to stop playing McFred in the midfield for that to happen. We need to get the ball quicker to people like Bruno and Pogba and Sancho to provide better opportunities for people like Cavani and Greenwood. We need to, learn to break teams down who play a low block. We need to use our bench much, much better. We need to have a plan B. These are all United problems. They're not England problems. So this is why, for me, I've just got no interest in England anymore. I know United will look after Rashford and Sancho and Shaw and Maguire. Arsenal will look after Saka. That's Arsenal's issue to look after, and he's a fantastic player. We'll look after our players, but we need to look after our interests now. England lost the final 2 days ago. For me, it's gone. Let's focus on Manchester United because we've got our own... We lost our own final. This is the second final I've had to lose this summer. But I remember that United final vividly. That was very disappointing because we didn't make substitutions, because we didn't play particularly well. We've got to deal with that. That's what we've got to deal with. Delot. Let's talk about Delot. So Dimarzio has said that Delot is still AC Milan's preferred target to come in at right back, and they're hopeful that United will discuss another loan. This is the problem that we have at United. Don't sign for United.org. Don't forget, guys. Glazers out, says Tabres. Yeah, I need to get that link back in a video again. I think that this is the problem that Manchester United have. Now, interestingly, let me just bring this in here. Samuel Lucas, when talking about Varane and saying that sources close to the deal say they'll be stunned if he doesn't join Manchester United. In the same article, it says that previously people close to Manchester United deals have commented on how Manchester United act like they're cleverer than they actually are. Now, this is something we've heard time and time again about Manchester United. Now, it says previously, we don't know about this summer, to be fair. There has been changes made, and hopefully those changes are. But that's interesting that that's in that article this morning in the Manchester Evening News, that Manchester United in previous transfer deals give off this impression that they're cleverer than they actually are. Arrogant, basically. This has been running through Manchester United, the non-public world around agents and other clubs. This has been said for probably 6, 7, 8 years, maybe even longer, that United are an embarrassment when it comes to how they deal with transfers, and that the reputation of Manchester United in the agents world and in the transfer world is not that of a big club. They're actually perceived as a joke in the industry. So it's very interesting that that's been reiterated this morning in the Manchester Evening News, that United give off this impression of being cleverer than they actually are, which means, they're a bit of a joke. So I don't know whether that's going to change this summer, but there is positivity around the Varane deal, which is good. But it does feed into the problem about Delot. Delot is a player that Ollie doesn't want, effectively, but nobody will give us money for him. Man United would sell Delot for about 15 million quid, but nobody will buy him. He was the right back for Portugal. In the end, he was right. He was Portugal's right back, and he had a decent season at AC Milan. All right, not an amazing season, but decent. And he's still very young, but nobody will give us 15 million for him. People only want our players on loan. Nobody will give us 10 million for Pereira. They only want him on loan. We can't sell our players. Now, whether that's incompetence or whether it's because they're on stupid wages, it's probably a combination of the two. But for me, Delot is very, very difficult to remove from the club. And I know some of you would like to see him stay at the club and given a chance at the club, but he's very difficult to remove from the club, like everybody else. So, who we're going to remove from the club, I don't know. And Aparaji says we need to remove them to reduce the wage bill. Well, we do, yeah. Thoughts on Eric Ramsey as first team coach, says Mark Smith. Well, we spoke about this on the show last night, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but he's an under-23 coach from Chelsea, brought in to work on set pieces. So look, hopefully we'll see an improvement, because whoever was working on the set pieces last year shouldn't be working on them this year because they were shit. So if we brought somebody new in, I think that's a positive for me. Ollie has been talking as well. Just a few things that Ollie said, speaking about people in relation to the Euros. Spoke about Marcus Rashford. Basically, sorry, excuse me, it's been a tiring week. Said that Marcus Rashford is the sort of, there's nobody at Manchester United that's going to stand back and say they don't want to take penalties anymore. And Marcus Rashford's certainly the sort of personality that is going to put himself forward again. Obviously just talking about that missed penalty. Look, you can miss a penalty. Anybody can miss a penalty. And I don't think that means Marcus Rashford's rubbish. I don't think it's mean he's never going to take a penalty again. Ultimately, to be honest with you, Marcus Rashford's penalty was dreadful. But when you analyse it, if you want to, he did everything right other than score, which is a key point on a penalty. But, Donnarumma went the other way. He put it in the right corner. He just missed the corner. So it wasn't. It was a bad penalty, but actually, it wasn't as bad as, say, Saka and Sancho's, who the keeper actually saved it. Rashford missed the target. The keeper went the wrong way, and Rashford generated that by his run-up. I know people are saying, his run-up was stupid. He got the keeper to dive the wrong way. He'll be back taking penalties, is my point. And also, in relation to Luke Shaw, Ollie said, look, he's been tremendous the last 2 years and he deserves all the credit that he's got. And that's quite interesting in itself, isn't it? Because you will get these people who, through gritted teeth at the moment are saying, yeah, Luke Shaw is a good player, but he's only done it in the last few months. I was right that he was shit like a year ago. Well, you were wrong. Even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is saying that Luke Shaw's been tremendous for 2 years. Player of the Year in 2019, which means 3 years. Luke Shaw's been a decent player for a long time. Certain people just don't want to accept it. There are similarities with Ollie and Gareth. Both can organise low blocks and break, but lack creativity in coaching a team to play through the line, says Sam. Fair point. Well made. So happy about the medical, says Golrick. Yeah, I mean, look, Jadon Sancho will be unveiled as a Manchester United player in the next 48 hours. I've got to be honest, for me, and look, it's a very personal experience. For me, it's about with Jadon Sancho, the big thing for me was, here we go. And I know that's not official, and I know people get very excited about the player holding a shirt up. And for me, the exciting thing about when Sancho is announced is for his comments about joining Manchester United. Because we know he's joining. There's absolutely no way he's not joining. He's not going to fail a medical. He was just bloody playing for England. He'll be fine. And for me, it's the excitement about seeing him wearing a United, training top or whatever. But more importantly, talking about what he thinks about Manchester United. As I said, with Man United, it's a tiring process, because you get the speculation. I mean, look at Varane now. We've got the speculation. We've now got he'll be stunned if he doesn't sign for us. We'll then get deal done. Here we go. We'll then get Manchester United announcing it, and then we'll get the medical and the photos. So it's a long process for every signing that you make. I do wish we could do it like Liverpool. Remember when Liverpool bought Fabinho? And it was like 6 o'clock I think it was a Sunday night. Liverpool aren't even in for Fabinho. 7 o'clock, there's talk of Liverpool wanting Fabinho. 8 o'clock, Liverpool have signed him. That sort of speed on a deal would be great. But United, for many reasons, are just unable. And actually, you know what? Unwilling is the most thing. A lot of Manchester United don't want to announce a deal quickly. Manchester United want the social media interaction that they mentioned to their shareholders. They want it. They want it to take ages, because it just generates more and more revenue for them than if it goes on longer. Hi Mark, USA 3 a.m. United stands, says Smitty. Thank you very much for the super chat, Smitty. Penalty is like random sampling. We lost it in 90 minutes thanks to Southgate, says Golrick. I disagree, Mark. A good penalty is a penalty hitting the target. Keeper could have went the wrong way and it would have been a great penalty. Bad penalty is missing the target completely, but I feel for Marcus, says DK. Hi Mark, heard that Chelsea's going to go for Haaland and they will offload the likes of Tammy Abraham, Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi. Do you fancy anyone at United, says Samir? I mean, we shouldn't be, because you're basically taking Chelsea's unwanted players, aren't you? And I don't think we should be doing that. But the thing that came into my head there is that if Chelsea get Haaland and offload players like that, it's an irritant. It's an irritant, because we've taken 18 months to get Sancho out of Dortmund, and it looks like Chelsea could get Haaland, who's not for sale, out of Dortmund in a couple of weeks. So, and then on top of that, we can't sell our players, but Chelsea are going to offload 3 in no time. I think a team like Chelsea, obviously they're funded by a very rich person, but they also sell very well as well. That's nothing, you can buy players because you've got a lot of money, but selling players isn't about having a lot of money. Selling players is about being good in the transfer market. And Chelsea are always have been a very good example of that. I mean, Chelsea going back to, we used to have a chief executive called Peter Kenyon, and he ended up leaving United to go to Chelsea. So Chelsea, and that was a long time ago, Chelsea have always been very good at transfers. And it does piss me off, because I think United are slow at transfers. And again, if we buy Sancho and Varane, that's good signings. I'm not going to say it's not, but where's the removal of this pile of deadwood that we've got? It's just slow again. Like, why are we not removing players from this club? We've got a lot of players at this club that shouldn't be here, that are not even part of the Euros. So why are we not removing players from the club? I do like Ziyech, but I just feel that Ziyech is obviously a player that has failed at Chelsea, so why would you bring him to Manchester United? We don't need a Ziyech and we don't need a Hudson-Odoi. Why would you need a player like that? Got Bruno Fernandes, Donny van de Beek, Paul Pogba, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, Mason Greenwood, Jadon Sancho, Amad Diallo. You've got 8 creative players there. And also, you've got Hannibal, Shoretire, and other young players coming through. We don't actually need a Ziyech. We don't actually need a Hudson-Odoi. They're good players, but they're not for us. As for Tammy Abraham, no, I don't see why we would want to buy a player and stick him on our bench when he's not happy being on the bench at Chelsea. Mark, I would like to be an article writer in your website. That's football@gmail.com. Also, do we get any compensation? Says Goyrick. I don't run the website, mate. You need to go on the website for that sort of thing. And why would you get compensation for writing on a website? I presume you mean wages. In which case, no, you don't. The website is really just run like a hobby. And I don't run the website, so it's nothing to do with me. So you need to contact them through that. Chelsea also benefit from the fact that they won't be held to ransom by players, so they don't overpay on wages, says David Swanbrew. I've never looked at that. Never looked at why Chelsea are... what Chelsea's wage bill is compared to Manchester United, but I've never understood that. And look, that feeds quite nicely into something. I was reading something over the weekend from Sport, who are a Barcelona outlet, saying that Manchester United are interested in Griezmann. We're not interested in Griezmann. No, nobody's interested in Griezmann. Barcelona would like to get rid of Griezmann, but they can't get rid of Griezmann. And that story about Man United being interested in Griezmann has not resonated with anybody and will not resonate anywhere in a United Stand video, because... although it is being mentioned now, but you're not going to see a title of a video with Griezmann on it. You're not. Because we're not interested in Griezmann. Nobody's interested in Griezmann, because Griezmann is a flop at Barcelona in the sense that he's not been terrible, but they're paying him. Wasn't it something like 700 grand a week? 700 grand a week, and nobody's interested in Griezmann. Nobody, because his wages are ridiculous. We pay ridiculous wages, but so do Barcelona. Barcelona have got to offload. Was it something like £2 million worth of wages or something stupid like that? Because before they can give Messi a deal. So no, we're not in for Griezmann. Nobody's in for Griezmann. Nobody can afford Griezmann. Barcelona wish somebody was in for Griezmann, but they've made mistakes more than we have there. I mean, Alexis Sanchez was abysmal, but yeah, we're not in for Griezmann. We're not, and I don't know why Barcelona and Manchester United pay such silly wages. I really don't know why they do it, because they're two of the biggest clubs in the world, but we end up paying silly wages. It's absolutely crazy. They need to drop 200 million in wages. Wow. Absolutely unbelievable. It's 750k a week, says Danish. So look, where are we at? So Varane transfer boost, Sancho medical today, and then announced with the kits and everything in the next couple of days. Probably, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday. New kit's out on Thursday, so maybe they'll do it then. It makes sense on a business point of view, but you could do it tomorrow in anticipation, because you can pre-order the kit. So as long as Sancho's holding up the kit, it doesn't matter, you can pre-order the kit. I don't know why I'm saying you can pre-order the kit. I'm not saying to order the kit. I'm not ordering the kit. I'm not getting the kit. My daughter's not happy about it, but she's not getting the kit because I'm not putting money into the Glazers. I think they are. I don't think they're very good owners, and I don't think they've changed anything. I think they're full of false promises until they prove us otherwise. So people can do what they want though. If they want to buy the new kit, they can buy the new kit. It's up to them. And what's happened? Says Oscar Wardle. Okay, I'm not getting involved in that sort of thing. I'd need to read about it. But thoughts and prayers with South Africa. There's a lot of people talking about it. And also what I was going to say is. What else was I going to say? Varane. So Varane, as I said, Spanish outlets basically backing up what we've been told, that Varane wants to leave. Personal terms are not a problem. The offer on the table is better from Manchester United than it is Real Madrid. And Real Madrid are waiting for Varane to come back from holiday and say he wants to leave. And then United will agree a deal with him. So we might be waiting a couple of weeks or more for Varane to come to United. But certainly don't worry about PSG or personal terms. Those things are way out of the window. This is about Varane telling Real Madrid he needs to go. And as we heard again this morning, people close to that deal are saying they'd be stunned if he doesn't leave for Manchester United. And that's the second time we've heard that from different sources in 4 days. So it's looking very good around Varane. If we get signings we want this summer, what do you think our chances are of winning the title this season? Is it curtains for all if he fails, says Liam Brown? It's not It's not curtains for Ollie next season if he fails. This board has only ever sacked a manager when they don't get top 4. We could have Ollie as our manager for 10 years and win nothing. We're talking the Glazers here, not Ollie. The Glazers only sack managers when they can't get top 4. Van Gaal won the FA Cup and missed out on top 4 by goal difference. Sacked. Moyes wasn't going to get top 4. Sacked. Mourinho wasn't going to get top 4. Sacked. If Ollie gets 4th place this year, they won't sack him. Necessarily. So people are saying, if we don't challenge for the title next year, Ollie will be sacked. Why? I'm talking from the Glazers here. What if we finish 3rd and we're miles off the title again? What if we finish 4th and we're miles off the title again and we don't win anything? I think that he'll still be in charge. Don't kid yourselves that we are run like a football club that is trying to win trophies. If you're trying to win trophies, then it gets to a point like with Chelsea and you finish 3rd and they go, well, you're not the man, you're off. United won't do that. United won't sack a manager who finishes 3rd. So you're living in a dreamland if you think we're going to sack a manager because we don't win a title this year. Glazers love top 4. They don't look at the way we play. They don't look at set piece defence. They don't look at beating a low block. They look at the table. If they're in the top 4, they're earning money, they're probably going to give Ollie a high five. So I don't think I want the season to be about challenging for a title, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ollie's here for 5 years if he keeps getting top 4, because that's the standards the Glazers have set at this football club. Not Ollie. I think Ollie wants to win the league like we do, but the Glazers, they're just all they're interested in is top 4, and therefore I wouldn't think that he will get the sack if we finish 4th. Probably should do, but that's not how we run this club. Thanks everyone for watching. We have got the Romano interview today, by the way. I should have mentioned that at the start. Romano will be on the show this afternoon. Obviously yesterday he was a little bit sore with the celebrations in the throat from Italy. That sounds wrong, but you know what I mean. He'd been shouting a lot. But we have got Romano on the show this afternoon, so we will be able to put your questions to him. And I will speak to you a little bit later. 8 o'clock show as normal. Romano this afternoon. I think it's going to be around 4 o'clock, but we'll just confirm that time a little bit later. But thanks for watching. Speak to you in a bit. And we'll get a Camavinga update from Romano. I'll write the questions down. Don't worry. Speak to you in a bit.